This is Ben Colby, Teen Librarian at Enoch Pratt, and I have a video today to introduce you to makecode.microbit.org. We're going to do this project called Snap the Dot, and it's actually under the games already. If you want to follow the tutorial, it's right here, and it'll walk you through step by step and show you what to do. Feel free to do that. I'm just going to start a new project from scratch. This is my dashboard. It's all cloud saving, except any device you use is going to have its own unique account. So here's my project name. I have to give it a name, so I'll just call it Snap. And right away I have this coding interface. If I click on these tabs, I get a bunch of different blocks that I could drag over and use. We have the simulator over here that's going to be constantly running the code that we create so we can see what it does. If at any point you want to check out the JavaScript version of what you're doing, that button is up here. But I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. The first thing I want to do is create a sprite. A sprite is a thing in a game that does something that changes. It could be a player sprite, it could be an enemy sprite, it could be anything. But we have sprites for the microbit too. So we're going to create a sprite, which is under the game menu, create sprite at. Now, you can see it doesn't fit into these blocks. It's because we need to start off by creating a variable. So I'm going to the variable menu, make a variable, and the variable is called dot. It just represents the sprite that we're creating. So now I just got some new options here. But I'm just going to take set.to, meaning I'm creating the variable and I'm creating information attached to the variable. In a math class, you might have, you think about variables as things to solve, right? Completely different in coding. A variable is just a thing that is like a sliding scale that you're using, something that changes, a place to store information that is going to change. All right, so anyway, I set the dot to create sprite at 2, 2. Well, hey, it just popped up. If I mouse over here, you can see the actual positions. 0, 0. This should be 1, 0. It's not always popping up. Anyway, top left corner is 0, 0. 2, 2 is in the middle. 4, 4 is the bottom corner. So we have the Y counting down from the top, and the X, counting up from the top. So 0 is at the top, 4 is at the bottom. And then in the X direction, we have 0 on the left and 4 on the right. So anyway, 2, 2 is right in the middle. In the forever block, what do we want the sprite to do? Well, we want it to move. And that is the fourth one here in the game menu. Sprite move by 1, except we have to pick the specific sprite, and that is dot. That is the name of our sprite. Dot move by 1. And so you can see when it started, I can reset it, and it just instantly shot from the middle to the right, and so it changed its position in the X direction. Let's add another thing here, also in the game menu. Sprite if on edge bounce. What this is going to do is if I'm right here on the edge, I change the direction and go back. So I just have to make sure I pick the right sprite, and I'm getting a little error message before I do. Okay, so now let's try this and see what happens. Hey, it's bouncing back and forth really fast. So if I want to create a game where I hit a button and try to catch it in the middle, it better be moving a little slower than that, or I have no chance. So under basic, we have this block called pause. I'm going to drag that out. So right now we have the forever loop running, and the speed of this kind of shows you how fast the forever loop is running. It's running really fast, over, 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 over. I can slow that down by adding a pause. So let's just keep it at 100 milliseconds or 1/10 of a second and see what happens. Hey, it's moving much slower now. Still kind of fast. And I have a little drop-down menu. I'll just make it real slow for now. Should be very easy to catch it in the middle. Very good. So where do we go next? We want to be able to press a button and see if we have caught the dot in the middle. So we have another event for that under input, on button pressed. We also have these other kinds of input to use, but let's just start with an on button pressed. And I think I would prefer to hit the B button to the A button, so I'm just going to use the drop-down menu and say when button B is pressed. Well, what do we do when button B is pressed? It depends. It depends. If the dot is over on the side and you hit the button, then you have failed because you're supposed to do it in the middle. If you hit it while it is in the middle, then you've succeeded. So we have to ask a question at this point to figure out whether we have failed or succeeded. I'm going to the logic menu under conditionals, and I'm going to grab one of these basic if loops, and I'm putting that inside the button press. So we're asking a question. If something is true, then we do something. So what do we ask? We're asking the question if something equals something. So I just grabbed that out of logic under comparison. If something equals something, it's a diamond shape on the sides. If what equals what? Back in the game menu, I've got sprite x. This is a block that is going to tell us the x value, meaning where it is horizontally, of the sprite. It's going to be either a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, based on where it is at the current time. So I'm going to drag that right over, and I make sure I select the right sprite. If the x value of dot, which starts off at 2 and then bounces back and forth between 0 and 4, well, we want to check if it's at 2, because that would be a success. So what happens if we're successful? Well, let's do a couple things. I'm going to go up to basic. We have these display things happening. I'm going to put a show icon in here. That'll be the first thing that happens. And you can select whatever icon you want. I'll use the diamond. Let's just see where we're at now. The thing is moving, and if I click while we're in the middle, I got the diamond. If I click when I'm not on the middle, like if I mess it up, I get nothing. Okay, very good. Let's take this another level up. And let's think about score. Also down in the game menu, we can change the score and set the score. Let's start by setting the score in the start menu. So you start off with a score of 0. And then the other thing is when the button is pressed, if it's a successful press, then we're going to change the score by 1, meaning it goes up from wherever it is by 1, if this is true. Okay. And let's do one more thing so that, oh yeah, and then there's an extra animation that you can see as the score goes up. Great. I'm going to do one more thing. We're going to add a win condition. How do you know when you've won the game? Well, it's going to be another check that we do. And I'm going to do another if loop, and I'm going to put it this time in the forever loop. We always want to be ready to check to see if the game is over. That's one of the things that we should check every time we go through the loop. Is the game over? Well, how would we know if the game is over? Well, I think we would do another comparison under logic, if something equals something. And that is if the score, which is under the game menu here and under advanced, there's a block that just says score. If the score equals, let's just start with 3, then you win. Well, how do we show that you win? There might be different ways to do it. I'm just going to go up to basic and take the string and show, instead of hello, you win. So now let's test this and see if it works. Click 1, I got it. Score is 1. Click 2, I got it. The score is 2. Click 3, I got it. And I've got the display. You win. Does anything else happen after that, or does it just go forever? It just repeats. Okay. Which is fine. It can just repeat forever. And then there is a button on the back that would reset it to start the game over. So I think I'm going to stop the level 1 video right here with this code. This gives us a basic working thing that you could call a game. And you could set the speed of it differently if you want to make it harder, or if you want to have a higher winning score. We're going to add some more elements to this in the level 2 video.